Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. And yes, we're going to be looking at Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 3 finale, um, titled New Life and New Civilizations. They really do like to do that shit, don't they? Oh, I don't know. The things they do for Kurtzman Trek. Um, but yeah, so before we get into it, please do hit that thumbs up, give us a like, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, select all the notification bell, and don't miss out on any upcoming content. So, I'm gonna, much like I did with this week's Alien Earth, I will be watching it, pausing it, and recording as I'm going. So, we shall bring this up on the screen and we will get into it. Uh, I don't really like Strange New Worlds that much as Star Trek. There's a lot of there's stuff in it that I just do not like. I hate the way they've done it. So yeah, I hope you don't mind me going off on one at certain points, which I'm likely to do. I may not, but yeah, we'll see. Hey, well, I mean, sorry, I had to change my shirt. I spilled some coffee down it. So, any chance to have a party, they will have a party apparently on this ship. Um, and then Scotty walks in like this, wearing a kilt. I don't mind. Scottish guy wearing a kilt. Not a problem. Not a problem. But everyone else is dressed casually, and he's coming in a formal style outfit. Um, yeah, someone's playing with him, messing around with him. Because I mean, he wouldn't be wearing that otherwise, would he? So yeah, someone's playing a trick on him. Yeah, apparently it seems that it was Uhura that messed with him, telling him that it was a formal affair, his first captain's dinner or whatever. Technically, it's not a captain's dinner; it's a good, it's a celebrate, it's a party for Patel. I thought, but hey, whatever. Seriously, they bring back Ensign Gamble. Seriously, my God, he hasn't even been there long enough. He's barely been seen. Great fun. I have to say, the one thing Strange New Worlds has done well is the ships. Visually, they look amazing. I just wish they looked more, traditional for Star Trek, like for this period. Um, but fine. I mean, it looks good. It looks good. Um, but here's the thing, right? Sometimes in Strange New Worlds, they don't always give you an indication of how long it takes for you to travel somewhere at warp. So a place where they were at, um, was it Gowan? I don't know his name, but he managed to get himself put together, back together in the buffer, in the medical transport buffer, and then beam himself out without being noticed. And apparently, it will take them 11 hours at maximum warp to get there. I think that's what they said. Did they say maximum warp? I think they did. I should put the subtitles on. Really, it should be not necessary. Let's see. I don't know. Anyway, so I'm sure she said it was 11 hours. Una said they were 11 hours away, or 7 hours, 7 or 11 hours. Uh, so okay, but sometimes they give the impression that they're traveling across the galaxy in like seconds or minutes, as opposed to hours or days. So it's kind of been inconsistent with warp. Now I know in TOS, so the original series, warp was slower than in TNG. So in TNG, the warp factor system, the numbering system was changed. So warp, say 5 in TOS was actually more equivalent to warp 2 or possibly warp 3 in Next Generation, as far as I can tell. But as far as I can remember, I'll have to look into it some more and remind myself exactly what the warp factor system was like for TOS and TNG. But I'm pretty sure that the numbers shifted. So warp 7 in TOS would have been equivalent to warp 5 or something like that in TNG, or maybe even warp 4. I can't remember, but I will look into it and then possibly do a live to celebrate the end of this season. And I still can't believe that we're getting another season and a half after this. Jesus Christ. Anyway, so the Wonder Woman, that is Lan Noonien Singh, seems to be able to do a Vulcan nerve pinch with both hands. Why is it that everyone can suddenly do a Vulcan nerve pinch? I don't understand. It's just stupid, if you ask me, because then it's not a Vulcan thing, then, is it? If everyone can do it, and considering the fact that alien, there's nothing to say that just because they're similar in a way of appearance to humans and Vulcans and that, who's to say that their nerve clusters are in the same spot? This is the one problem I have with a lot of the Vulcan nerve pinch stuff, is you would have to know the anatomy in order to know where to place your hands for the nerve pinch. And look at her hand placement. That is not a nerve. That is not a pinch. That is not the Vulcan nerve pinch. I'm pretty sure I've seen in the movies, I think, where it was more prevalent, that you don't use all your fingers and for the nerve pinch, right? It's always just like 2 or 3, and your thumb for the pinch. So yeah, they kind of make you think that you can put your hand on their shoulder and they just collapse unconscious. Lovely. But hey, who am I to judge? I always give these shows a chance. I've given every season of Strange New Worlds a chance to wow me and get me eye and buck my interest, and nothing. And Chapel is jealous because she couldn't learn to do it at all. So in the show, they're saying that anyone can learn it, and then they're showing that some can't. Okay, fine. Whatever you say, Kurtzman. Apparently, ley lines are throughout the galaxy now. They're not just on the surface of the planet. This is ridiculous. The fact that they're adding ley lines to space now. Fine. The way I would see it is, it's more like possibly ley lines would be considered similar in a way to transport conduits, possibly, because we know from previous shows, like I believe it's in Voyager, in even in Picard season 2, towards the end of season 2, and in TNG, I think we learn that transport conduits are not just, you can't just open a transport conduit anywhere. You have to go to a certain location where the transport conduit is in order to enter transwarp. So I wonder if their version of ley lines or interdimensional travel. I mean, seriously, interdimensional travel. That's traveling between dimensions, right? So it's different. Ley lines are what we like to say as spiritual energy, I guess, supernatural energy traveling between the lines. But this is completely different stuff. The idea that something that ley lines exist in space is a ridiculous addition to the universe. It just, I'd say more. I'd be more interested in it if they go back to the Discovery thing with the spore drive and say that he maybe he shifted into spore into the spore dimension and traveled that way, it would make more sense. But obviously, it's the same universe because it is Strange New Worlds, leading directly from Discovery, season 2. But I don't like the addition of ley lines in space. I just don't. I suppose you could say like gravitational eddies, or not necessarily eddy, but maybe there are certain parts of space where there's like a tidal force creating, gravitational force, acting like a tidal force, or like what do they call it in the ocean? I can't remember what it's called. The North Atlantic, the North Atlantic Current, is it, or something like that? Possibly. You never know. Stuff like that might exist. But calling it ley lines, seriously, that is just lazy, in my opinion. And obviously, someone who considers themselves to be spiritual must have been involved in writing. It says it right there. 5 days ago, at that moment, the Vesna escaped. The Enterprise was directly on one of these lines. So I'd say it's more like a transwarp conduit type deal. Maybe not transwarp, but something along those lines. I don't agree with them adding these ley lines to space, essentially. Yeah, it's kind of like something that you would expect in Stargate, right? You expect, like, because wormholes won't form from one planet to another in the same solar system. So basically, they will only travel from a star to another star, essentially. So, which is why in Stargate we have the wormholes will not work if you try and travel within that distance, so within the same solar system. I think it's pretty much covered in Stargate that you need to be in a different system. You cannot be within the gravitational field of a star, I believe, to connect two ends of a wormhole. You have to have a lot. You have to connect it from one star to another, which is why the distance between stars affects stargates in Stargate, right? Because it's explained in the movie. Well, maybe no, it's explained in Children of the Gods. So the pilot episodes of SG-1 and the movie pilot that was put together for Children of the Gods, where they explain that the galaxy is expanding, so the distance between the stars increases, which puts the coordinates off. So and also in the series they explain that any advanced civilization would be able to calculate that shift to compensate. And the only reason that they had a connection between Earth and Abydos in the series was because that Abydos is the closest gate in the network to Earth, which I'd say is understandable. It makes sense. So I don't understand. These adding these bloody ley lines. It's absolutely stupid idea. But I mean, you could have called it something else. You didn't have to call it ley lines. You could have called it something completely different. And oh, look on the map. What does it say? Folian assembly. No, I'm not 100% sure that I remember this correctly, but isn't Folian space in a completely different sector to the Federation? So at this point, I doubt there would have been much contact between the Federation and the Folians. I mean, you take Enterprise into account. The Folians came to our part of the galaxy because they were following a quantum signature and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's a bit silly that they've got Folians on this map. But in saying that, the Tholians and the Gorn, if I remember rightly, they're their sectors or space, their controlled space are not too far from each other, if I remember rightly. So, I mean, you can even see it here, United Federation of Planets. So that's their space. This is the Federation space as well as the Tholian space, and they're obviously not far from Gorn space, which makes sense, I suppose, because, well, the Gorn have been heavily represented in this season and previous season, right? I'm going off on one here, but I apologise for that, guys. I don't want to make this video too long, so I'm going to carry on watching, and hopefully I don't stop it and talk for too much longer in between sections or segments. So, yeah, here we go. Seriously, they started stabbing their own eyes out because they started chanting. What is it with shows nowadays? It's pretty gruesome for Trek, right? They're going very dark in this one. Okay, fine. But seriously, I don't understand why they would have this in this show, especially considering the fact that they're famous for saying Star Trek is for kids. Yeah, if it's for kids, any parent showing them these episodes, it's not a great parent showing young kids these. I know some people probably say that, oh, no, it's not meant for kids. It's like, well, no, technically, they have been sort of made for children. And I mean, you might think I'm wrong, but up until this point, seriously, it's very dark, very dark. And considering the fact that what rating are these? I can't remember what rating these are. I'll have to look at it at the end of the. After I've watched it, I'll go back and I'll have a look at the rating because I'm pretty sure that it's pretty low. So yeah, they start chanting and then they start stabbing their own eyes out. Yeah, and I thought that what they did in Alien Earth the other day was gruesome. Yeah. Well, particularly gruesome. I wouldn't say absolutely gruesome, but gruesome considering. Let's just put it that way. But yeah. Yeah, they had to bring him in somehow. They had to bring Kirk in somehow because he was involved in the previous one with the Vesta alien energy forms or whatever they want to call them. Yeah, yeah, great fun. And also, they found out that the planet something 9, I can't remember the name of the planet, was actually on one of the ley lines that links directly to Sky Gowan. I'm calling them ley lines because that's what they've called them in the show. So yeah, great fun. So it turns out Patel was Captain Marvel. Sorry, I had to say that. I had to do that. This is like ridiculous because she wasn't there. She didn't see what happened when they were on that other planet, and they managed to get there, and then Gamble essentially attacks the statue, and then a crack appears in her head, and then Patel. We jump to Patel, and she drops to her knees with a glowing crack appear in her head, and then her eyes start glowing. It's very familiar appearance actually in Star Trek, but TOS. It happens. It happens in Lower Decks even. So yeah, super. We have a Captain Marvel, and she's actually a captain well, she was a captain of a ship. Now she's captain and head of the Judge Advocate's office or whatever of the Federation or Starfleet. Right, whatever. Great fun. So yeah, she is the statue. So Captain Patel is the statue on Vardia 9. Also known by Gamble as the Beholder, by the Vezda as the Beholder. He called her a warden before. So, right. But let's just remember, guys, Patel never went down to Valdia 9. She never went there. She was in orbit on the Enterprise. She did not go to the surface. Great fun. I always thought that when she attacked Gamble in that episode, I thought it was the Gorn reacting to a threat that Gamble posed as with the Vesta in him. But obviously, no, it's because Captain Patel is the guardian of the prison, the warden of the prison that holds the Vesta in. Great fun. Wonderful writing, I must say. So now they've decided that the only way to open the door, they need power. So what they've chosen is to use a phaser with anti-proton beams from both to hit the door at the same time from two ships. And in order to do that, apparently you need two pilots on the same on two people on the same wavelength. So they decide to do a mind meld. So Spock is melding with Kirk in order to be able to fire the phasers at the exact same moment to introduce enough power into the doorway to open it for Patel and Pike to walk through. And it's enough energy to destroy a planet. So, and that would generate about the same energy as our sun or the sun. Just bear in mind that our sun is the only sun. Other stars are just stars; they're not suns. This is getting stupider and stupider every moment. Because, I mean, Enterprise has more than one phaser bank, right? So I'm pretty sure that even in TOS, the Enterprise had at least two ball turrets, right? Had two phaser banks at least, because we always see it fire from underneath the saucer. So, yeah, it's pretty weird the way that the way that this is done. So, yeah, my thoughts to your thoughts. What do you think? Because I think this is absolutely ridiculous. Perfect synchronization. They were just like, it didn't even look like they were moving apart or anything. They're just exactly the same moment. But here's the thing I don't like: the Farragut. Now, as far as I'm aware, the Farragut is supposed to be the same class as the Enterprise. It's supposed to be a Constitution class. Kurtzman changed it for some unknown reason. So yeah, now it's this ugly piece of rubbish here. So yeah, in my opinion, ships with the underslung nacelles, like the Farragut here, with no secondary hull, I always consider those to be scout ships or science ships. They're too small to do anything particularly tactical, right? Whereas the Enterprise is supposed to be a light cruiser. I think it's a light cruiser, not meant to be a heavy cruiser. And obviously, this Enterprise is much bigger than the original. Now you can see how they've made it so that the saucers are pretty much the same. They're pretty much identical, except I think the Enterprise saucer has a third deck, whereas traditionally the Enterprise saucer had two. So yes, well done, Kurtzman. Well done. Oh look, they're doing the Maverick maneuver. Someone's gonna look out the view window and take a picture of the enemy pilot. You know, so they're moving in perfect synchronicity. It's almost, as Pelia, worst character ever. But yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, it's good to see ship porn, as they like to say, as people call it, ship porn. But yeah, still bad, still bad. Oh look, they're firing! Yay! But I still have this pet peeve that I have about Strange New Worlds. This is pre-TOS, and in TOS, phases are blue. Why are the phases red in Strange New Worlds? And also, at the same time, if I remember rightly, we didn't see a proper phaser beam until TNG, because the phasers in TOS, if I remember rightly, were pulse phasers. They fire a specific a long pulse. So yeah, I mean, we saw it in Enterprise that they had a phaser beam. Yes. In TOS, we never actually saw a phaser beam. We saw a pulse phaser, which is different. And in fact, in the movie, when we see a phaser beam, it's not actually a phaser beam. It's more like the phalanx firing a constant, firing a pulse in constant period, right? So basically, we're seeing a repeated pulse in sort of like automatic fire, yeah, coming from the phaser banks. That's what we see in the movies, right? And the TMP, let's call it TMP. So it's basically not firing once; it's firing repeatedly. That's what gives us the impression that there's a beam, which is why in TNG they introduced a beam, because it looked like a beam. So yeah, that's why it visually looked like a beam in the movies. It wasn't technically a beam. And if I remember rightly, in the motion picture, it's the first time we actually see that kind of weapon being used. And you've got to bear in mind that the Enterprise has been refit for that movie, so it's a new weapon. But who knows? Who cares? Who cares? I mean, seriously. There's a lot about Kurtzman's stuff that just doesn't work, doesn't fit, shouldn't exist. So yeah, great visuals though. I have to say, the ship porn is incredible. And here we are. See, so you're firing what essentially is a laser beam from orbit. Now, if I remember correctly, the size of the beam, the diameter of the beam should be a constant, right? It's like you fire a laser pointer, the further away you get, the bigger the beam, the bigger the dot is on whatever you're pointing at. So the fact that this is firing a beam that is essentially larger than a group of people, which is larger than the target. That's if you think about it, and it seemed to have been focused in a way that it's tiny, hitting the back of the doorway, charging it. You can see the light in the middle. That means it's charging, so it's going to open shortly. But there's stuff in this that is absolutely ridiculous, and it worked. Clearly, they're on Velda 9 now, so yeah, fair enough. It worked. Now, are they going to stop firing the beam? I hope so. Otherwise, they might end up destroying the gateway, right? Look, Captain Marvel has arrived. Oh, sorry, no, Captain Patel has arrived. Sorry, Patel has arrived. So they're on Volta 9 now. And yeah, Velda 9. Valda 9. Great fun. And they put her in a leather jacket as well. Very not Ms. Marvel, is it? Got nothing to do with Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel. I said Miss Marvel. I know I did, but it's Captain Marvel. There's nothing like Captain Marvel, is it? Not a thing to do with it. So we've got this flash forward now to this. I'm assuming is their interpretation of what happens to Pike on the training mission with the cadets that causes him to end up in the wheelchair. But a second ago they were holding each other, and they were standing in the prison on Velda 9, facing off against the Vesda. Her hands were glowing, just like Captain America. Captain America. Honestly, what the hell, Captain Marvel? Why is everyone a captain? I don't get it. And this is them talking about the fact that he's told Patel what will happen. Well, actually, I think it's Captain. It's Pike, because they're clearly married at this now in this view forward, in the vision of the future. Are they planning on rushing something for next season? I seriously hope not, because I don't want to see a show with the new Captain Kirk. I don't. Not from this. Not based on this. I hope that's not what's going to happen, because the way this is done. I mean, obviously, this is a flash forward, so they're still there on Velda 9, whatever, facing off against the I'm not going to say it anymore. And what the hell? I mean, seriously. More of this love saves the world crap. Seriously. They might as well be chanting a song like in Acolyte. I mean, this is fucking absolutely ridiculous. I hate the way they've done this. If I have to watch another season of this, then I'm going to go crazy. I have advice for Paramount. Anything that Kurtzman does from this point, just can it and shelf it. Do not air it, because it is ridiculous. Because if he's just going to pull out this dribble because he knows that he's not going to have a contract to do any more, then just don't put it anywhere. Just delete it. I don't care, because it's absolutely ridiculous. If we're going to get another season of this crap, my God. And that's me saying it. I mean, I will give season 4 a chance, but like I said, I'll do it with any show, with any season of any show, except for Doctor Who and Rings of Power, because I couldn't sit through any more of that rubbish. But Clay, it's just all this it's just dribble, And all the stuff that happened up to before all this happened, where they had the future, the flash forward to him having a life with Patel, with Marie, and having a daughter, and that daughter getting engaged. It's absolutely pointless. But at the same time, is that more stuff that Pike has to remember? And it's just absolutely crazy. I mean, Pike is already in love with someone, and that was set up decades ago. And we even saw it in Discovery. He's in love with someone else, and he's. I mean, seriously, I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't get it. This is a weird thing, because Uhura's just literally said that Pike's just come onto the bridge. He hasn't even sat down on his chair yet, and she comes up with, Hailing frequencies open, Captain. What? So you're constantly broadcasting everything that's going on the bridge? Because I mean, open hailing frequency is something you do to communicate with someone else. Yet she's saying hailing frequencies are open, Captain. Um, yeah, sure. I mean, all this soppy crap as well. I mean, seriously. Okay, so that's finished. Again, nice visuals. I love the visuals in this, but I just the show. I think it's lazy a lot in a lot of places. It takes it really hits on on canon. I mean, it doesn't have any strong ties to canon or lore whatsoever in the show, as I've said before. And I know I've said things in this video that are probably going to be controversial. People aren't going to like it, and to be honest, I don't mind if you don't like what I say. These are my thoughts. These are my opinions, and it's how I feel about this show. And to be honest, this feels like a complete finish. This feels like the end of a series, not just a season. The end of the show. That's what it feels like. But we know that season 4 has probably finished filming now, so it's in post production. Probably doing with the CGI now, getting ready for next year. But to be honest, it really does feel like this was the finale for the show, and that's where it should have stayed. If you ask me, because I mean, this show has been terrible when it comes to Star Trek, and I know that there are friends of this channel that they think the absolute opposite. I mean, they like the show. They will speak out against it in certain ways, but me, I don't try and be negative about it, but it's not Star Trek. Just like Discovery's not Star Trek. Picard's seasons 1 and 2 was not Star Trek. Season 3 was much better, but it was still not exactly Star Trek. The only two shows that were the most Star Trek have been essentially cancelled. Was that Prodigy and Lower Decks? I'd love to see more Lower Decks, and I'd love to see more Prodigy because they are the most Star Trek out of the Kurtzman Trek that we're getting. Yet we're going to get Star Trek Academy, Starfleet Academy. I don't want Academy. I don't want Beverly Hills 90210 in space or Grange Hill in space. I don't want it. I wanted Legacy because the way that Picard ended was season 3 ended was pretty good for Picard. Still wasn't entirely Star Trek, but it was the best series of any that we've had for a long time, except for Lower Decks and Prodigy. So my thought is that Kurtzman knew he wasn't going to get an extension. He knew his contract was going to be over, and that would have been it, full stop. So I think that this was originally written as the series finale, not the season finale, the series finale. And it feels like it, right? But he continued. He had to carry on. He had to get as much done as possible so that he could fraudulently get the money he could, because he knew that he was, I say fraudulently, manipulatively is the way he did it. He did it. He manipulated Paramount into paying for shows that they didn't want. And Paramount couldn't say no because of the contract. So when the contract is over next year in the summer, I believe, I hope that any show that hasn't aired up to that point gets cancelled and doesn't come. So, but the problem is that by that time we will probably get season 4 of Strange New Worlds and Star Trek Academy, which I don't want. I never wanted them. This show. I didn't want season 3. I just wanted it gone. I want it done, over with. visually, they look great. But if what I've heard from other channels that CBS are taking over making Star Trek, I like that idea. I like that idea. Um, I can't remember if that was a series or a movie, but either way, I think CBS will do a better job. Um, Specifically, if they do it themselves, as a instead of allowing someone else to come in, I think Star Trek should have been done in house by Paramount and CBS. It should not have involved an out. I mean, it could have involved an outside company, but I think that the way that they did it by having a contract signed, allowing Secret Hideout to do whatever they wanted with it, that was a mistake. That was a mistake. But these are just my thoughts. These are just my opinions. And if you don't like it, then please hit that down. Hit the thumbs down. Hit the thumbs down if you don't like it. Um, but if you do like this and you understand where I'm coming from and you think I've done a good job with this video, then please do hit that thumbs up. Give us a like. If you haven't already, please subscribe. It seriously helps us out. So the least you can do is hit the subscribe button and select all and the notification bell. It's absolutely free. It doesn't cost a thing. And trying to build my channel here. Obviously, there are things that I say in my videos that a lot of people don't agree with. That is absolutely fine. I've got no problem with that. And as long as they keep making rubbish stuff like Strange New Worlds, I will keep making videos. We're getting to a period soon in the next few weeks, I think, where we're gonna have a period where we're not gonna have anything to react to. So I'm considering ideas for filling in the gaps between shows and seasons or whatever. I'm going to try and arrange to go to watch Predator Badlands in November, but that's months away. So we'll see what happens there. And it's going to be interesting to see what we get after Kurtzman, after Secret Hideout, because the way that Trek has been and is terrible, in my opinion. It's my opinion. It is a terrible show, terrible franchise at the moment. Just like Star Wars. Star Wars took a turn. It started to come back with Skeleton Crew, but the problem with Skeleton Crew is it had the ratings were basically discouraged because of Acolyte, which came out before it. I think that if Skeleton Crew came out before the Acolyte, Skeleton Crew would have had a hell of a lot better ratings because it was a much better show than the Acolyte. Not perfect, not by a long shot. Not exactly the Goonies in space that people believed it would be, but it was fun to watch. And I think that those kids they have the potential to have a great career in the future should they want to continue acting. But with Strange New Worlds, I mean, I wouldn't even be interested in seeing anything from the cast because they were involved in this for so long. And it's just, when they're in something else, will they be different or will they just be the same? It's hard to say with actors nowadays because a lot of them they're just themselves. They don't bring anything else other than themselves to it, which I think is a mistake because I think the acting community is on the downhill because they're not acting; they're just being themselves, reading the lines. So yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens, and hopefully, like I said, you'll like this video. If you don't like the video, then hit thumbs down. It's entirely up to you, and subscribe. And yeah, I know I've said that already, but it's good to remind you guys if you watch this far. A lot of people are not watching the entire video; they're stopping sort of a few minutes in because one thing I say turns them away. I apologize if that's the case. I don't want you to go away, but I mean, if you don't like the video, then that is absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. You don't have to watch it. But you know, if you like my content, but you don't like the specific topic, like Star Trek or Star Wars or whatever like that, then you know you're free to watch whichever video you want. But please, you know, be nice. I am trying to do this. I am doing this as a hobby, as well as, you know, because I've got subscribers. I want to support. I want to help my subscribers, and you know, give them something to watch. And it's difficult sometimes. In my life, I have suffered from mental illness, um, and other things. So yeah, um, you guys have seriously helped me out over the years, and hopefully I can continue getting your support, and you know, and you guys will enjoy my stuff. It's fine. I mean, like I said, it's okay if you don't like it. If you don't like it, then that's absolutely fine. I don't mind. If it's not made for you, then it's not made for you. You know, I'm just making these videos for me, and it gives you guys something to do, something to watch if you like me. You know, it's entirely up to you. But yeah, we're gonna end it here, guys, because this I'm tired. Haven't slept very well lately because my insomnia has been kicking in a bit lately. So now I'm going to try and get some sleep. As I finish recording this, it's just gone 9 o'clock in the evening. So yeah, this video will be up on Friday. So yeah, hopefully you guys like the video. But until next time, guys, take care, stay safe, and may the Schwartz be with you always.